Anyone who can't speak is not family. Get out! What are you two doing? I pushed aside my son William and his wife Stella, holding my grandchild Alice protectively as she clutched her cheek in pain, glaring at them. William and Stella, showing no remorse, continued to insult Alice for her inability to speak. Seeing this, I decided to raise her myself and took her home with me. 10 years later. Suddenly, William and Stella appeared. We missed you, Alice. We're family, right? Let's live again together. We're not family with idiots. Please leave. I am Ashley, a 60-year-old housewife. A few years ago, I lost my husband and have been living alone in a large house since then. I considered living with William and Stella, but I decided against it. We just don't get along. Besides, I might end up helping out at the store they run. My body doesn't move as it used to when I was younger, and honestly, I'm not good with customer service. If we lived and worked together, it would only cause stress for both sides. So, I decided it was better not to live together. Even after my husband passed away, William never suggested living together. I was grateful for that. Having been freed from childcare and nursing care, I wanted to enjoy my time alone. But once I started living alone, it was lonelier than I had imagined. Having spent so much time on housework, childcare, and nursing care, I had no hobbies or friends. I spent my days killing time watching reruns of TV dramas. Even when I tried to take up new habits, they never lasted. In my dull daily life, my 2 grandchildren were a huge comfort. Nicole, 10 years old, and Alice, 6 years old. Both of them are very adorable girls. Nicole is pretty and good at charming adults. On the other hand, Alice is a bit clumsy and quiet. Compared to her pretty and charming sister, Alice often felt lonely. I love both of them, but I especially sided with Alice. That's because she seemed to be avoided by William, Stella, and Nicole. William and Stella visit about once every 2 months with the grandchildren. Grandma, Nicole says cheerfully as she runs up to me. Her clothes are always new, and her long hair is neatly styled. On the other hand, Alice's clothes are hand-me-downs from Nicole and look worn. Her hair is unkempt and unattended. Alice, who once loved to talk and chatted a lot when she first learned to speak, has become quiet lately. Looking down with a gloomy face unlike the smiling Nicole. I greeted Nicole. Nice to see you. Then I squatted down to speak to Alice. Alice, welcome. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I have your favorite snacks today. Let's eat together. Yeah. Grandma, what about mine? Of course, I have yours too. Let's go inside. As I held my grandchildren's hands, William and Stella called out as they got out of the car. Mom, long time no see. Here, we brought you a gift. Oh, thank you. How have you two been? Make yourselves comfortable. Thank you, Ashley. I invited William, Stella, and the grandchildren into the house, offering them drinks and snacks. William and Stella only talked to Nicole, ignoring Alice completely. When I tried to talk to her, Nicole would interrupt, or William and Stella would change the subject. I noticed how William and Stella treated Alice, but I thought it best not to interfere too much and just observed. However, I would come to regret that decision. One day, I had planned to visit William and Stella's house, bringing along some of their favorite snacks. When I arrived, I reached out to ring the doorbell. At that moment, I heard William shouting from inside the house. Don't just stand there, say something. Surprised, I put my hand on the front door and found it unlocked. Without hesitation, I walked down the hallway and realized the voice was coming from upstairs. It's your fault I'm embarrassed at school because you won't speak. As I climbed the stairs, the shouting continued, and then I heard a loud, dry sound as if something had been struck. I opened the door to the room where the noise came from and saw William, Stella, and Nicole berating Alice. Alice was holding her cheek, looking like she was about to cry, while Nicole was shaking her hand as if it hurt. Hey, Alice. Nicole hit you, right? Can't you even say ouch? If you can't speak, you're not part of this family. Get out. What are you all doing? I pushed past William, Stella, and Nicole, hugging Alice protectively and glaring at them. For a moment, they looked surprised but quickly recovered and said, Mom, what are you doing here? You should have rung the doorbell before coming in. That's right, Ashley, you're being rude. The ones being rude are you. Surrounding a child and yelling at them. William, you're her father, aren't you ashamed of yourself? And Nicole, why did you hit Alice? For the first time, I scolded Nicole loudly. She looked scared for a moment but then said, But, and looked down. Stella pulled Nicole close and said, Hey! Don't blame Nicole! While glaring at me. I glared back without backing down. Taking her side after she hit Alice was not how a mother should act. Watching this, William pointed at me and shouted, Mom, what are you thinking? Get away from that idiot! The only idiots here are you. Apologize to Alice. What? Who's going to apologize? William, Stella, and Nicole showed no remorse and continued to insult Alice. Alice, in my arms, grabbed my clothes weakly with a vacant look on her face. Had they been treating her like this all along? Without thinking, I picked Alice up and declared, I will take care of Alice. I can't leave her here. Leaving the three of them stunned, I hurried out of the room with Alice. William stood there for a while, then approached with a sly smile. Mom, this is a relief. I didn't know what to do with her anymore. As I stared in disbelief at William's words, Stella appeared behind him. She was carrying an old small suitcase and a backpack. These are her things. Please take care of the rest. With that, Stella handed me the bags roughly. Neither Alice nor I could say anything, just looking up at William and Stella's faces. Both of them were clearly happy that Alice was leaving the house. Frustrated, I left the house without saying anything. When we got home, still silent, I placed her luggage in the hallway. Then she sniffled softly. When I looked at her face, I saw she was biting her lip and crying. I hugged her and stroked her back. Alice, you've been through so much. I'm sorry I couldn't help you until now. But it's okay now. From now on, I'm on your side, I'll protect you. From then on, I started living with Alice. Alice, who had been hurt by her parents, didn't speak. Not even a single good morning. According to her teacher, she wasn't talking to her classmates or teachers at school either. Worried, I took her to the hospital to see a doctor. Alice was diagnosed with selective mutism. The doctor said that the strong stress and anxiety from her family had made her unable to speak. Now that her environment had changed, he said she would eventually be able to talk if given time. Feeling relieved, I bought her a cute notebook and pen on our way home from the hospital. Alice, if you want to tell me or anyone else something, write or draw it in this notebook. And little by little, let's practice saying the words out loud. Alice immediately opened the notebook and started writing with the pen. Watching quietly, she showed me the page. On it were the words, "Thank you, Grandma," and a drawing of me. Alice opened her mouth, trying hard to speak. But she couldn't get the words out, and she looked down sadly. Alice, you're doing great. Let's keep going like this. Well done. When I patted her head, Alice looked up and gave a faint smile. She began using the notebook and pen to communicate at school too. Perhaps gaining confidence, she gradually started to speak, and within 2 years, she could talk normally. Grandma, guess what happened at school today? As soon as she got home, Alice would eagerly tell me about her day at school. Seeing her so full of life, I felt truly relieved. One day, I visited the school for a parent-teacher meeting. When we entered the classroom, a kind-looking teacher greeted us. Alice and I greeted back and sat down. As we talked about how she was doing at school and at home, Alice squirmed shyly. Alice's grades have been improving steadily since last year. Look at this. The teacher showed us a report card. The graph showed a gradual increase since she started living with me, and now it was quite high. I think it's because she is very studious. Recently, she's been buying difficult books and workbooks and studying every day, I said as I patted Alice's head. Since she began to speak, she had become very diligent. At home, she would open difficult books and study, and on test days, she would show me her perfect score sheets. All those perfect scores were framed and displayed, and I looked at them with pride. I see. How about having an IQ test done at the hospital? An IQ test? I asked back. She might be gifted. And the teacher replied. Gifted children are those who have exceptionally high abilities from a young age. Alice's intelligence is remarkable. Because she had such a wonderful talent, the suggestion was to take an IQ test to prepare the right educational environment for her. I immediately took Alice to the hospital to take the IQ test. The result was as the school teacher predicted, she was gifted. I couldn't hide my surprise at how amazing her abilities were. I asked Alice, "How's your studies in elementary school? Are you having fun?" Alice replied, looking bored. To be honest, it's too easy and boring. I want to study much more difficult things. But when I tell the teacher, they get troubled. Listening to her story, I thought deeply. Can Alice do the kind of study she wants in this situation? What she probably wants is middle school or high school level study. Can Alice, who hasn't even graduated from elementary school yet, study that? I consulted with her teacher. The teacher told me that there is a region where the skipping grade system is prevalent. If we go there, Alice would be able to study what she wants. I remembered that my late husband's brother works in that area. I hadn't been in contact with him since my husband passed away, but he might be able to help. When I contacted him for advice, he said he would support our life there. Relieved, I suggested to her that we move. If Grandma is with me, I want to go. But I want to go after I graduate elementary school with my friends. Okay, I understand. Alice smiled, looking relieved. She made many memories in elementary school and graduated safely. She exchanged contact information with her friends, so they can stay in touch even after moving. I didn't tell William and Stella about the move. I thought that if they knew their abandoned daughter was gifted, they would try to take her back to use her. Alice quickly adapted to life in the new place and studied by skipping grades. I supported her with all my might. I'm enjoying studying more than before. Seeing Alice speak happily, I felt truly glad that we moved. Her talent was truly wonderful. A few years later, she entered Harvard University and studied business management, and then started her own company. I will repay Grandma for everything, Alice said enthusiastically. I already felt that she had repaid me enough, because she had grown up to be a fine adult. Her achievements were covered in the news and spread around the world, making her famous. Probably, her name is quite well known now. What do William and Stella think of Alice's success? I hope they regret all the terrible things they did. 10 years after Alice started her company, we moved again for work. As we were living in a new apartment, the doorbell rang. Thinking it was a delivery, I opened the door without any caution. "Long time no see, Mom. How have you been?" "William. And Stella, why are you here?" Seeing their faces, I was surprised. We had changed our contact information and moved far from where we used to live, so how did they find us? Ignoring my surprise, Stella called into the house. "Alice, are you there? We've come to see you after a long time. What do you want?" "Stay away from her. Don't be cold, Mom. We are Alice's parents." "Yes, Ashley. Alice is here, right? Let us meet her." "Hey, don't just barge in." Before I could stop them, they pushed past me and entered the house. As I tried to hold them back, Alice appeared in the living room. "What's going on, Grandma?" "Whoa, wait, what?" Alice was just as surprised by the sudden visitors. I turned away, feeling awkward. Meanwhile, William and Stella looked delighted to finally see Alice. "Oh, Alice! We missed you so much. You've grown so much." Stella tried to hug her, but Alice pushed her away. "If you want to talk, do it in the living room. I'll make some coffee. Please wait on the sofa," Alice said coldly as she started preparing coffee in the kitchen. William and Stella made themselves comfortable on the sofa, sharing their memories with Alice without restraint. Worried, I spoke to Alice, who winked at me and gestured to let her handle it. Facing them, I soon heard the main reason for their visit. The business they had gone under due to poor management. Since starting her job, Nicole had cut off contact, and they didn't know where she was or what she was doing. Without work, they were now living in poverty, unsure when their savings would run out. "Hey, Alice. Can you support us? You left home when you were 6, but until then, we raised you. It's time to repay your parents. Alice, you must have felt lonely without us all these years. But now, let's live together. Let's make up for lost time and create new memories as a family." I couldn't bear to watch them, pleading pathetically with Alice. I wondered where I had gone wrong in raising my son to become this kind of adult. Lost in self-blame, I was brought back to reality by Alice's voice. "No, I won't. You're not my family. My only family is Grandma. Leave now." She wore a cold smile I had never seen before. "Alice, please. Wait, don't do this." Alice refused to listen to their desperate pleas to live together. She forced them out, locking the door behind them. Through the window, I saw them walking away, shoulders slumped. "Grandma." "What?" "Let's move." She smiled as she spoke. I learned she had been secretly planning to build a house for us to live in together. It was designed to be accessible for me. "Thank you, Alice." When I thanked her, Alice smiled sheepishly. A few months later, we moved into our new home. Thanks to Alice's thoughtful design, I lived comfortably. The walls were adorned with memories from our past. There was even the notebook and pen we had bought when we first started living together. Every time I saw it, I was moved to tears. Today, I think I'll cook Alice's favorite meal. With that thought, I started cooking in the kitchen.